What is up, guys? This is Pinzo back with another video today, and what I have for you guys is a tips video. This is something that I should have done a couple days ago when Pred went free to play, but I just got around to sitting down and having some time to edit, and here we go. So I'm going to try and make this quick. I will have timestamps for everything in the description below, or like in the, you can slide along and find what you guys want to find. Obviously, this is going to be aimed at newer players, but those of you that have been around for a while might be able to learn something as well. So we're just going to jump right into this. I am going to do my best to have some examples for you guys on screen, but we're going to jump right in. This is 7 tips, maybe 8. I don't know how many I've got here. Number 1, Flash. Flash is like the most important thing in the game. It is a 5-minute cooldown. Everybody has it from level 1. And it default keybinds to the number 4 on your keyboard, or if you are playing on console, it is the right stick. You push the right stick. I don't know what that's called. I don't play on a controller, but you push the right stick in and you flash forward. It's a 5-minute cooldown, and it will save your life or get you kills, and you can do it like it's free. You don't have to pay any gold for it. Really good. Just remember you have it. Number 2. Minions. You have to last hit minions. This is primarily for Smite players, and Smite, obviously, you don't have to last hit in this game. To get gold, you gotta last hit minions. Cannon minions, which are kind of like big brute minions. Again, if you're a Smite player, they come every 3 waves. They give a lot of XP and a lot of gold. You need to get those. They are very, very important early game, so try to get them. Don't die for a cannon minion, of course, but make sure you're getting your XP at least, that kind of thing. The other thing about minions is that they will only aggro on single target damage. So if you have an AoE ability, like something like Bellica's Bomb or Xeris' Spear Thrust or, Gideon's Q, right? Those abilities that can hit multiple targets will not aggro minions. So you can hit an enemy god or a hero with that as much as you want, and you will not get targeted by minions, which is very, very nice to know, because that way you can poke while you're hitting the wave. But if you auto attack an enemy, the minions will aggro you. Notably, minions lose aggro. They will stop hitting you or running at you if you break line of sight. So if you walk through a fog wall, you walk around a corner, minions will stop hitting you. Keep that in mind. Builds. This is number 3. Builds. Use auto buy. If you are a brand new player, use auto buy for a couple matches. The auto buy builds are really good. The devs do pay attention to their game, believe it or not, and the auto buy builds will work for you. They will do their job. They are even set for heroes that can have multiple roles. So Bellica, for example, can play support and mid lane, and depending on what role you are locked into, her build will change. So if you are mid lane Bellica, the auto buy will buy different items than if you are support Bellica. It's very smart. Like, it does a good job. Highly recommended. The other thing you can do, go to YouTube, find a video from someone good like me, Soul Reaper, Joe Yours Truly, right, and just copy their build. That's the other option that I would suggest. Number 4. The only person that can play the jungle role is the person that is given jungle in the lobby. If you, in the lobby, right, you select what role you want. Let's say you select jungle, and then your mid laner says, hey, I want to switch. I want to play jungle. Say no. Say no. It does not work that way. The hunt item, which is kind of like Smite if you are a league player, is tied to whoever has the jungle role in the lobby. Only that person has the hunt item. The hunt item heals you when you hit jungle camps. It allows you to smite jungle camps, and you can't get that if you are on a different role. You will not be able to play jungle without it. Do not switch jungle role. Number 4, this is kind of, again, going off with the last one, where to start depending on what role you're playing. Jungler, generally speaking, starts on red buff and then clears 5 camp, 2 camp, 4 camp, blue buff, 3 camp. That's what would be called a full clear. The rest of the lanes start in their lanes. So solo lane, you are on the prime side of the map. It is not right or left lane. It is prime side. It has the green buff on the outside. That's where solo lane is. Duo lane is the opposite side, Fangtooth side with the gold buff. That's where duo lane starts. Mid lane starts in mid lane. There is no leashing in this game. Minions clash at the same time that jungle camps spawn, so you can't really help your jungler at the beginning of the game. Just start in your lane, hit your minions, that kind of thing. Number 5, this is getting into some stats kind of things. The one stat that probably looks a little bit weird, especially for Smite players, is ability haste. It is not cooldown reduction in this game is called ability haste. It is not percent reduction. It is a diminishing returns scale. So 10 ability haste is 11% CDR, but 20% ability or 20 ability haste is like 18% CDR. So it is a diminishing return scale. The more you have, the less effective it is. It's the same scale that armor works on, actually. So 100 ability haste is 50% CDR. Now, there is no cap to this. You can realistically, you could have, 1,000 ability haste and have 98% CDR. But the issue with that is that you can't get there, right? The most you can get in a game is about 170 if you're playing very specific builds on very specific characters. Generally speaking, if you hit 40, 50, 60, you're going to be just fine. Some more cooldown characters go 80, 90, but that's really all you're going to get to. So just so you know, ability haste is still cooldown reduction. It is just not percent. Number 6, this is going to be the long one. This is what all the buffs on the map do. So Fangtooth is the first objective on the map. Fangtooth 1 gives you 30 seconds extra on your buffs. Well, technically, it gives you 50% extra duration on each buff that you kill. So if you have one Fangtooth, your river buffs will last longer, your red buff and blue buff will last longer, and your prime will last longer. So with that said, there is a cap. The cap is 30 seconds. So something like red buff that generally lasts, I believe it lasts 2 minutes, will last 2 minutes and 30 seconds, not 3 minutes, because the cap is an extra 30 seconds on the buff. It's kind of complicated, but like river buffs will benefit from the full 50% because river buffs, they actually have different timers, but most of them last for about 45 seconds. So with a Fangtooth number 1, you will get, an extra 20 seconds out of them or whatever the actual math is. Right, roughly. I'm rounding here. We're trying to get through all of these tips, okay? I wanted this to be under 10 minutes. I don't know if I'm going to make it there. Fangtooth number 2 gives you 8% out of combat move speed, and Fangtooth number 3 gives you 8% armor and power, just always, permanently. For the rest of the game, you have 8% more armor and 8% more power. So, notably, just again, and as an asterisk on the Fangtooths, it is not Fangtooth. The first Fangtooth that spawns gives the buff duration. The second one gives the movement speed. That's not how it works. If you get 2 Fangtooths, let's say the enemy team gets the first Fangtooth and you get the next 2, you will have the 50% buff duration and the 8% out of combat move speed, but the enemy team will only have the 50% buff duration. If you get all 3, that is when you get to the 8% stat bonus. So you have to stack the Fangtooths to get the next reward. It is not based on what order they spawn in. There you go. Primal Fangtooth. This is what spawns after the 3rd Fangtooth is destroyed. The next Fangtooth that spawns will be Primal Fangtooth. It gives the next buff in the stacking order of the Fangtooths when you kill it. So if you have 2 Fangtooths, then you kill Primal Fangtooth, you will get the 8% stat bonus. You will also get the Primordial Blaze buff. Now, what this does is it does true damage whenever you deal damage to people. You auto-attack somebody, they will get a dot damage on them that does true damage based on the time of the game. So whatever the minute in the game is, it deals double that amount of damage per second to the target for, I believe, 2.5 seconds. I think, I'm not sure on the actual duration of the blaze. But the point is, so if it's 30 minutes, it will deal 60 true damage per second or like 5 ticks to any enemies that you hit. That's really good. It also, again, it stacks your Fangtooths. There you go. On the other side of the map, you have the primes. So Mini Prime is the first one that spawns in at 7 minutes. And what this gives you is it gives you bonus armor and magical armor. It gives you bonus damage dealt. It gives you 15% extra damage dealt. And it buffs minions around you to be tankier. They deal more damage. Really good for tower pushing early game. It is very similar to the main Orb Prime buff, which spawns at 20 minutes and affects your whole team. Mini Prime only goes to the person who kills it. Orb Prime, the big Prime, goes to your entire team. Orb Prime is very similar. However, it does not give you defense. It gives you health regen and mana regen out of combat. So based on your maximum HP and your maximum mana, you will regen a lot when you are out of combat for long enough. It will regen very quickly. You will notice it. It is very noticeable on the amount of regen that it gives. And with that, it also gives 20% Damage gives you 20% extra damage, and it still buffs minions around you. So Mini Prime gives defense, Big Prime gives healing. Both of them give increased damage and buff your minions. The rest of the buffs on the map, gold buff just gives you gold. It gives you gold based on your level, so it is actually less useful early game, but more useful late game. Still really good for carries to grab early, just because more gold on a carry, always a good thing. The teal buff, the cyan buff, the green buff, the one in solo lane, whatever you want to call it, gives a good chunk of XP. I don't know the number. It gives you like 50 gold, and it gives you a big boost of health and mana instantly when you kill it. That is, again, mostly fought over by solo laners because it's on the solo lane side of the map. Blue buff gives you mana regen. It gives you more mana regen when you are in combat. It gives you less when you are out of combat. It also gives you 15 ability haste. Red buff gives you damage over time and slowing people when you hit them with auto attacks. So anything that you auto attack starts taking magical damage over time, and they get slowed for a little bit. It's not a crazy slow, but it is enough for you to run people down. Lastly, the river buffs. There are 4 different river buffs. These spawn every odd minute after 3 minutes. So they spawn in first at 3 minutes, and then at 5, 7, 9, etc. These will spawn whether or not they've been killed or when they got killed, right? If you kill a river buff at 4 minutes and 59 seconds, the next one will still spawn at 5 minutes. There are 4 different river buffs. It is completely RNG based on which one shows up. There is pink buff that gives you additional damage on your abilities. I don't know the exact number. I think it's 15%, but I could be corrected. Green buff gives you a shield based on your maximum health. Orange buff gives you, I believe, 30% attack speed, which is very good. And then gray buff or black buff gives you movement speed. All of these buffs are really good. Of course, it is RNG. Whenever you kill a river buff, you do get mana regen. It regens like 250 or 300 mana to whoever kills it. Not dependent on which buff it is. So that is also very good for mid laners to grab because it lets you use more abilities. Next thing, number 7, towers. Towers have increased protections until the 8-minute mark. It's not worth it to even try to hit a tower before 8 minutes. You're really not going to do anything to it. If you get a wave under tower, either go take it back, go take a jungle camp, do something else. It's not worth it to hit towers. Inhibs do respawn after 5 minutes. They do not fire after they respawn. They stay dead. You can call them potatoes. They are there. They stop super minions from spawning on the other side of the map. However, they don't hit minions, so they don't defend themselves. If a wave of minions gets into them, that inhib's going to die. And then finally, your core. The core is very weak, okay? The core is not good at clearing minions. You have to defend the core. It does not do a lot of damage to minions. It doesn't do a lot of damage to players. So if someone is like split pushing and getting ready to be in your base, if you are not there, they will end the game. It only takes one wave of minions. They will end the game. So just be careful about those back doors. And then finally, I've got a couple of miscellaneous tips here. So wards. Wards are on a cooldown based on your level. They also last longer based on your level. And they do reveal invisible characters. So Wraith, Kalari, if they are within range of your ward, they will be revealed to you. So if a Wraith or a Kalari is trying to get away, you can drop a quick ward and see what way they're going. Just a tip. You get your ultimate at level 6. I think that's what you get it in League. In Smite, you get it at level 5. So don't be weird if you can't get your ultimate at level 5. Takes a little bit of getting used to, but there you go. Tier lists. If you guys are curious about what characters are really good right now, I will link a couple of tier lists in the description down below. I'll link my own tier list, and then I will probably link Soul Reaper's tier list, just so you guys can get a couple of perspectives on what is considered good right now. And there you go. And then finally, tip number 9. This is a little bonus tip at the end for you guys. If you guys subscribe to the channel, you guys can see the gameplay that I like to post. I do post some other kind of stuff as well, but it will help you guys as well. Just watching someone who knows how to play the game will help you guys in your quest to get better. I do stream on Twitch as well if you guys want to go watch that, but that's all I've got for you guys today. So as always, guys, I've been Pinzo. This video's donezo. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.